Hello everyone, Burb here. Let's complete the cycle by talking about frontrunners in the Virgo Cup. This is the fourth of the four role guides. The other three are available on the channel. I'm going to be just trying to do my best in talking about frontrunners as a disclaimer because there are a bunch of new players here. I don't play frontrunners very often. I do talk to a lot of frontrunner mains, and I have fought against them for 16 champions meetings now, but I may miss some intricacies about specific kits or the frontrunner mechanics, but I do try to do my best in that regard. So without further ado, let's begin and talk about frontrunners. Are frontrunners good? They're fine and they can win. They have a win rate around 10 to 15% at the moment in room matches. Two things. First of all, room matches are never indicative of actual races in the champions, meaning they're usually just kind of like a trend. The thing is that Christmas Oguri is taking the lion's share of victories, followed by Kopana Riki, and both of those mainly play pace chasers. You can run Kopana Riki in the front runner position, and it is pretty good. It's just it requires a lot more effort, and characters besides Kopana Riki are picking up a victory here or there, even against the perfectly built room matches. Now, the reason why you would want to run a frontrunner is primarily to deny Lucky Pace from specifically Christmas Ogre, and I guess Kopana Riki as well, if she does and hit her acceleration a little bit late. By basically running a frontrunner, and because frontrunners are rather rare, it's about 25% population at the moment, which means about 40% of lobbies will have a frontrunner that you're fighting. Um, you will probably get your acceleration pretty much guaranteed. The only problem is that Christmas Oguri is hitting 0.3 and you're hitting 0.2, and Christmas Oguri is a pace chaser, so she's slightly faster than you and gets speed carryover. So you need something a little more than 0.2 excel, either through speed carryover or through gambling on other particular accelerations. And that's where the problem comes in, is that when frontrunners are gambling like the rest of the cast and they're not absolutely dominating champions meeting, it's not necessarily hard to recommend, but they fall out of favor because of the effort required to actually build them. Not only is there a lot of skills for them to grab, like groundwork, that most other groundwork and taking the lead and all that stuff, there is a lot higher stat requirements in particular, because whereas the other roles, if they don't hit exactly their wit stuff, they're kind of fine and they can gamble times where they actually get enough pace ups to actually go and win the race. Frontrunners really need that mid race, so they can't dump wit, they can't really dump power too much because they are having trouble accelerating, because they really only have access to 0.2 guaranteed, and the rest of it is just gambling, and they can't really kill their speed because this is a rather long final straight. It's 386 meters, which is rather balanced, and because they're the slowest in general, they need the highest amount of speed as well. Because of that, they have basically four different stats that they have to grab up, whereas the other ones, you can dump wit a little bit on the other roles. Frontrunners just really need all four of their stats to actually hit, and that makes them incredibly difficult to build. The other thing is, if you don't build your frontrunner good enough, a lot of times you're going to find you're going to nimble nav the Christmas Oguri, and that's going to be pretty counterproductive to your actual strategy. Like I said, two reasons why you want to run a frontrunner is either to deny lucky pace. The second thing is that if you are running some sort of pace chaser with Nimble Nav, it does technically help sometimes with Nimble Navigator if you have a ton of mid race on your pace chaser. As long as you're making a good frontrunner, though, you probably won't notice it too much. Okay, so I personally suggest, just going to leave this out right now, I suggest one frontrunner if you're going to run a frontrunner. I don't think there's necessarily a reason to run double. I think you're going to find enough people to get that double frontrunner, and the solo front can win and seems to be the highest win rate among the actual the tests that people are doing in room matches. For skills, we did talk about stats, but you want to hit your 1500 speed, balance of power and wit with some stamina. You probably want close to 900 stamina because your spot struggle is going to burn you about 600 stamina as well. Skills for real this time. We're gonna be taking angling and scheming on frontrunners because this is your guaranteed acceleration. This is kind of the reason why you're playing this role, is to get that 0.2 excel guaranteed and then work from there. Because there's not that many frontrunners, there's not too much competition. If you hit your angling and scheming, you need something else to go and supplement it. Usually you want to at least try to have some method of gambling the excel. It could be Ig Power, it could be Forward March, it could be Second Wind, which is from that new Saiyan Sky SR Wit card, or it can be Got the Spirit, and some people are even doing Corner Con just because it's technically slightly more potent, but it doesn't hit as much. But the positions where you hit your perfect Corner Con, maybe you actually go and win. It's just on a little bit tough cards to grab. Now, You're not going to hit every time, and unlike head on and unlike on your left, the actual dead zones for these are roughly 60 to 65%. So really, only 1 in 3 you're going to get an actual decent amount of value from these accelerations, and so it's kind of tough to even recommend these, but you do need at least something to try and high roll. Now, you can also go and do this through speed carryover to fight against it, but you probably don't want to run pretty much anything else. You don't want nimble nav, you don't want any of the straight accelerations that you have. The general mid-race accelerations aren't great. They're just not going to hit long enough. Notably, final push and unrestrained are going to proc at and the same thing with redshift as well, going to proc on the final corner. And when you actually hit any level of angling and scheming, it's like maybe 0.3, and I don't think that's actually worth it, because I think you need a little bit more than another 0.3 lengths to actually add to your angling and scheming. Your early race is very critical in this, because acceleration early race is basically the only way for you to go and make a substantial lead over Christmas Auguries and other pace chasers in general. Dust Cloud is the addition for dirts, but rest of the stuff is the similar thing. Groundwork is great. Taking the lead is great. Those two combined will get you most of your early race. Try to get Dodging Danger and at least one of Prudent Positioning or Ignite Spirit Wit. If both appear, take both. It helps you with wit checks, and it still just works if both of them proc, so you're perfectly fine. Concentration is also very good, especially if you're only getting early lead. It just helps you out of gate. This can be done through the any future burb here. Mahono Bourbon's scenario link gives concentration and not Smart Falcons, but I'm not going to edit out the Falcorbs, so take that as a correction. Now back to me. So concentration is given to you via scenario link in that mechanic. Now, groundwork requires 3 greens. The greens, this is a sunny good track, so right-handed fall runner, sunny days, collaborative graded races, because this is on Oi race course, standard distance, and wet conditions. You need basically 3 of those, or front runner savvy as well, for your guaranteed groundwork proc. If you're taking the lead, that can count as 1, because you want to proc both of them anyways. If you fail the wit check, then who cares at that point? So at least 2 of these groundworks, ideally, specifically for Kapana or Ricky front players, you probably need a ton of these. For mid-race, I'm surprised I put all this on the same line. Probably shouldn't have, but they have a ton of mid-race, and the ones that you're going to see most people get are Top Runner from the Marzensky card and See You Later from Light Hello. You do have options of killer tunes if you run the Doto Stamina New Year card, or if you somehow are able to fit in a power card, you can still run El Condor Pasa Power. Escape Artist is an Agumasen from Daitaku Helios Power. You're probably not running that, to be honest, and then otherwise you kind of supplement it with just the white versions of skills. The 2 that you can grab, the standard Frontrunner Inherits of Summer Marzensky and Operation Cacao on V Bourbon, they're both perfectly fine. Otherwise, you just grab pretty much anything else. Racing Spirit Speed, Down in the Dirt, Slipstream. Nothing Ventured is, you're probably not grabbing that either. Tail Held High is great. It's on and may have an issue if you are solo fronting, because if there's no other front runners, you're not really going to pass anybody. So that's something to consider. And you are absolutely crazy if you choose giving it 1000%, because you are burning like 160 stamina. It's a lot. Umastan's also probably not going to proc, because there's just not going to be enough front runners and even enough pace chasers besides your Kyroguris that it won't proc after that 5 seconds. So they have the most amount of mid-race. You're most likely taking these 2 golds down here, as well as probably a bunch of these white skills over here. I would say that's what I would personally suggest. Note that immediately final corner, that's probably after I should talk about late race. Corners are good, straights are better. Same with all the other rolls, because this is flat here, but because it has a higher chance of speed carry over. Now corners have a 50-50 chance of being mid-race, and straights have basically a 2/3 chance of being essentially mid-race or pre-spurt. For late race, you do have, like I said, the immediate final corner late races like Biwa Haihide for, I guess if you're not in first, that would be. But really, Duty to Dignity calls, which is Measure Out McQueen, is partially eaten as an inherit, because you're most likely hitting 0.2, maybe 0.4, possibly 0.6. You're not going to be at full. Even this is with a perfect no stopping me for Biwa, so it'll be similar for front runners. It's going to be basically like 40% eaten, so it has less efficiency than other particular skills. As Measure McQueen herself, it's usually perfectly fine, because this gets stretched out a bit more. All right, back to it. Late race. Late race, you probably are grabbing a parent of like TM Upper O or Fujikaseki or OG Bourbon. This is usually the one you put on the other side or in the grandparent slots. You put your angling and scheming on one of your two parents. Otherwise, in body and mind, IS on the goal or full tilt because you are in the front half of the pack. Or yeah, that's pretty much the late race options that you have. Front runners don't really have too many late race options, but most of it does come from those three primary inherits. Future Burb here. Now we get to use the Falcor because if you use any Smart Falcon card or character, you can get the gold version of Full Tilt, which is full speed. Because you're in the front half, this pretty much solves your front runner late race problem as well if you do not have any form of inherits. You can also choose the white version if you don't use any form of Smart Falcon. So back to me. For recoveries, do note that the two frontrunner recoveries, the good one is Trackblazer or Rosy Outlook. The bad one is Restless because there is no uphill. So if you take Restless, it's never going to proc. It is a 0% chance of procking. Again, Summer Marzensky players, do not go and grab Restless. Restless is bad. Restless does not proc. Trackblazer can be grabbed from any Silent Suzuka card or Silent Suzuka herself if you somehow force that. Rosy Outlook is usually appears on various hints in the actual scenario itself. Future Burb here had to make a hard cut there because of the two Smart Falcon things that you saw me correct earlier, as well as I got baited by the 1.5 anniversary bourbon card, which I'll put right here because it's really funny, and then we'll talk about cards. Is going to be the Mihono Bourbon Speed 1.5 Annie. Took me a while to remember which character this was. This does have concentration on it, as well as Track Blazer as well. Is this a Silent Suzuka card? All right. With that, let's talk about cards. This is the second attempt. You need Light Hello. She gives you See You Later. See You Later is a very good skill. You pick this up on your frontrunners as well. For speed cards, you want the highest speed generation that you have available. The Summer Marzensky card is probably the best one for frontrunners because you do get Top Runner along with a ton of hints for specific frontrunner skills. Pretty much all the frontrunner skills you're ever going to need. Don't take Restless. Don't take Moxie, of course, but otherwise all the hints on that card are pretty much good. She does give a hint for groundwork as well. You're probably also running the Tachyon card just to get any level of scenario link to allow for you to go and grab more pieces, basically more song pieces, so that you are able to go and interact with the scenario mechanic. Kiddos in Black is there. Usually in the whale decks, you will drop Kiddos in Black. However, what I will say is that if you have the option of a Kiddos in Black that does better speed and power generation than a Summer Marzensky, if you have a low LB Summer Marzensky, you might be better off doing Kiddos in Black just because, yes, Top Runner is better. Yes, all those front runner skills are really, really, really nice, but Kiddos in Black gives Professor of Curvature, and half the time it's in the mid race anyways. And yes, Top Runner is slightly better, but what's more important is that you actually are able to hit your stats. So if you have the option between a Summer Marzensky that's a low LB that's not up to par versus a fully maxed Kiddos in Black speed card, I would choose the Kiddos in Black card. I think it is a better option. Use a training simulator like on Uma.guide is the one I use. It's the one I know the people on. To go and make sure that you are getting the best trainings possible, specifically in speed because you're pressing it so many times. Good. Remember that Kiss and Black does give you dodging danger and front runner straights as well, so it's not a completely dead card outside of Professor of Curvature. Again, this goes for any other speed card that you end up using. For welfare cards, the Mihono Bourbon speed card probably is the best one, assuming you're not using the wit card for Bourbon. Bourbon does give concentration in terms of her scenario link, so that is an option. Otherwise, you also do get Track Blazer for it. I don't have it here, but this card does give Track Blazer as a gold recovery option that will pretty much guarantee proc. So it's a very good card. It's an alternative to it's a way to get a recovery that's on a speed card. You can also do this via Tosin Jordan, although it is an Agi Masen. Otherwise, you're using your best speed cards available. For wit, the Bourbon Wit card is very good. It has Scenario Link. It gives you bonus song pieces or performance points as they're calling it, and gives you taking the lead if the chain finishes. Now, the thing is that if you are having to borrow this card, you are not borrowing a good Wit card instead, and you really should just instead cope with early lead, go and possibly run the bourbon speed card so that you can get concentration to compensate instead, and instead borrow a really powerful wit card like Find Motion or any of the other wit cards that you have accessible to you. Find Motion is very good for frontrunners because it has very high wit gen, and because wit is so hard to generate in this scenario, and because frontrunners need wit, this is really your method of making sure you get your minimum wit possible, because you need speed, stamina, power, and wit, and stats are really the most important. She does give 2 hints for 2 very good speed skills in right-handed and fall runner, 2 of your greens, and 2 speed greens in particular, which really helps you out. Otherwise, you're running your best wit card, even if it is a 1 LB Mr. CB, which only really has taking the lead, man, tail held high, and a possibility of corner recovery. For welfare, the best one probably is still Fuku for right-handed, or you can grab the Saiyan Sky Wit card for hints for groundwork and frontrunner savvy and fast paced and other ones of the like. I probably would use this if the whatever one has higher LB, but the MLB Saiyan Sky Wit is actually rather good. Otherwise, again, you're running your best Wit card available. For stamina, Super Creek is pretty good because you don't really want to be pressing stamina many times when you have to generate the other 3 stats. Swinging Maestro is a gold recovery. Otherwise, there's not too many stamina cards for frontrunners that are anything particularly special um, for free to plays or for the rest of the welfare cards. The original half anniversary card isn't horrible. It's not the greatest of training. It has the same training levels as an SR card. Um, yes, the Biwa card has slightly better trainings than these two, but this one gives killer tunes and this one gives concentration, so it's kind of a trade-off either way. Otherwise, again, run the best stamina card that you have because, again, you're stat bound. For utility cards, I don't think there is a way that you can really work in the Smart Falcon power. Someone may figure it out, but if you somehow are able to, it does give groundwork on chain, as well as 4 different greens, 3 of which are relevant and guaranteed. So this may be a Ricky inclusion if you really know what you're doing and have a ton of stamina sparks. Otherwise, again, the alternative recovery power cards are available, and El Contrapasa power for killer tunes, but this doesn't even have stamina bonus, so it's going to be really, really tough. I don't think we're running Daitaku Helios for Escape Artist Agumacen anymore. I think we are past that point in the game currently. As an example deck, this is just what I put up together. You are replacing the cards that you don't have with your best card available for Frontrunner because you really need stats over everything else. The pristine build that I've seen pretty much most of the top end room matches do is Summer Marazensky, Agnes Tachyon, Light Hello, Find Motion, Mahona Bourbon, and Super Creek. There isn't much, um, what's it called, variety in terms of that. This is what I've kind of seen people do, and it's simply because this is kind of the highest stat generation possible. Yes, they have low specialty priority, but they are high rolling on these, so they really will just basically have a time where the wit cards and the speed cards both work with them, and then they have massive amounts of stats. That's kind of how this particular champions meeting seems to be working. For characters, Kopana Riki is probably the best front runner. She's also a very good pace chaser and easier to build than pace chaser. But you do get front runner savvy from Light Hello as a top option at the end of year 1, as well as 2 greens in kit. You grab 3 more greens and you have luck runs my way. 10% power, 20% wit are the 2 hardest realistically things to grab on a speed, stamina, wit deck. So it's really nice. It's just really nice having 20% wit because you don't have to press the wit button as often, and because you're using Mahono Bourbon Wit, you don't really have your wit generation. I didn't really mention this in the deck building section, but if you're not hitting your wit stuff and you're not happy with the amount of wit you're doing, um, I think you drop taking the lead and you just go and grab your best wit card available, but it has to be considerably better than the bourbon card in order to do it, and perhaps it's better just to high roll in that case. But I think it's tough. It's really tough to hit your stats in this particular one. And Kapana Riki does help with that 20% wit bonus. She is the best front runner in the game currently, besides maybe Christmas Oguri front runner, but that is a real big stretch and a force, so we won't really be talking about her. Yellow Smart Falcon or Grand Line Smart Falcon has Alpha Star, which is a combined recovery and mid race skill. You will be in the lead halfway through the race. There's not enough front runners to worry about that. 20% speed bonus is great. The 10% guts is okay. It's not great. And she comes with pretty much all the dirt skills. The reason why you run this one in this one is because this is kind of the medium dirt Falco. It is slightly better than the pink version, but it is technically an extra second along with a half gold recovery. So it's rather nice. Pink Falco has the advantage of the 10% power bonus, as well as basically having all the greens required for groundwork. She has 3 greens built into kit if you need them. Oi race course as well for stamina, which is nice, and she has the same suite of events as the yellow Smart Falcon. Sparkly Stardom is early race, which is usually used to establish position. The acceleration is technically a little bit of extra value because you are transferring from early to mid race, but other than that, it's she's perfectly fine as well. So if you have Pink Falco and you're a Falco Oshi and you don't have the yellow one, don't feel the need to do it just for the champions meeting. You can go and wait and do and select her in second anniversary if you wish, and you are bound by carrots at the moment. So Pink Falco and Yellow Falco are both perfectly fine. Summer Marzensky gives you almost nothing. She gives you corner recovery. You can't pick Restless because there's no uphill. Speed and whip bonus is the only thing she really grabs. Kiss for Courage is great mid-race, of course. You can't really run the Marzensky speed card though, so you're locked to Kittison Black and Agnes Tachyon as well. So that's the disadvantage, but you can go and make back those lengths in other means. Regular Marzensky doesn't have an ultimate really, because if you're proccing Redshift and it's giving you significant a number of lengths, well, you probably aren't winning against the Christmas Augury hitting point 0.3 behind. It is technically a backup acceleration. In general, you don't really want to pick those over other velocity skills that you could be having. She also doesn't really give too much, but she does have 20% whip bonus, and that may be enough to push her over the edge for you. The rest of these I'd probably suggest as Pace Chaser, to be perfectly blunt. My own Top Gun Wedding, unfortunately, Flowery Maneuver, there's no one to pass on the final corner in the late race because if you're not first place by the start of the spurt as a front runner, you are not winning that race because you're not hitting angling and scheming. So it's very unlikely that you will ever proc Flowery Maneuver in a position that you are actually winning because you need to pass somebody. My own Top Gun Regular has similar problem, although this is a little better because you at least can kind of use it as a pass protect build, but again, they have to be basically right next to you trying to pass you and doing it slowly enough that you somehow you somehow have to get a block side continue time, which means they're in front of you having passed you, and then that gets you enough somehow with 0.25 target speed to go and take it back. It seems very unlikely that that will actually go and win you the race. No stopping me as well as a double front runner thing, maybe, and it's really kind of cope. And because Mayano can be played in the other 3 roles, and particularly is kind of okay in those roles, um, because of the fast learner event, you might just want to play her in a different role this particular time. Measure McQueen base, again, her ultimate is slightly eaten, and she is, of course, Dirt E front B at this point. Technically has stamina bonus to help you out with some stamina, but is honestly a little bit tough, and probably you just run her Pace Chaser as well. Specifically, the anime version is probably the best one for frontrunner, but it's also one of the best ones for Pace Chaser as well. The new updated ultimate is actually rather good. You're going to be pressured on the final corner or later. You may be pressured too soon and get it partially eaten, but she is fine because she has Beeline Burst, which is your late race option, which is rather rare for a front runner. Now, again, I think she's better in the Pace Chaser position. Summer McQueen, more meant for longs in particular. Your Smile Sparkles as the waves will proc early enough, will proc early, and it will not speed carry over, no matter how many extra recoveries that you actually take. So none of her recoveries are really relevant for this champions meeting either. So I suggest both of the other McQueens over her in this case. El Condor Pasa does require some extra stamina in order to actually proc her ultimate. And yes, you will be in second place, but you also can be in second place in the Pace Chaser position. And she has a gold recovery in the Pace Chaser position. TM Opera O New Year is actually a decent shout for frontrunner. Bark Blessings is just the thing you're putting on all the other frontrunners, and you have a 0.45 with increased duration, as well as a recovery in kit. The only issue is Dirt E and Front C, but she is rather powerful if you are able to build her. Now, you can also build her in all the other roles as well. So, Team Opera O is just kind of decently strong in comparison to all the other non-Christmas Ogre characters, and the 10% or the 14-8 and speed wit is going to help you a lot. And don't do the other ones. So that's really all the characters. Here's the checklist. Again, the point of running Frontrunner is you kind of have a support character that denies lucky pace that can go and help with nimble navs and hopefully not nimble nav the other Christmas Ogre that is hitting, but they should help your pace chasers out a little bit in as well. They are rather difficult to build and they can win when you build them properly. So do not think that they can't. They are useful in various regards. Again, your checklist is get your stamina up to the required levels of around 900, get your speed to around the levels of 1500, and then try to get wit and power, and then finally guts if you can grab it, but you probably can't. Get your groundwork taking the lead DDPP combo, as well as angling and scheming, and then after that, you probably need some level of solo white gambling excel to try to high roll, and then after that, try to get as much mid race and late race as possible. Barkful of Blessings and Fujikiseki ult both are very good in this regard. After that, more mid race will help you out immensely. That's been all the guides. I know the last two were rather rushed. I tried to just get it out because, again, we only have 4 more days, and I apologize that it took this long, but it's just been so busy around here, and I've been busy in real life, but I've been trying to do my best to get this out as much as possible. Like I said, this will be probably a Christmas Oguri and Kopana Riki stuff. I personally am not running either of those characters, mostly because I don't have them as well, and because I don't necessarily enjoy playing Christmas Oguri anyways, but um, these other characters can win. I really want to say that. When we actually get out of the room matches, I know room matches has been dominating in those too. I think we are going to at least have a chance to make it into a finals. I will be trying to stream these champions meetings the best I can. Um, we'll see what I can do. This could be the first time I go to B finals, but I'm going to try my best to actually go and hit good late surges and end closers in particular for me, and try to go and win the race. This has been the Frontrunner Guide. This has been the Champions Meeting Guides for Champions Meeting 17. I hope you have enjoyed. All that's left is again to thank the Borbs one more time. So thank you especially to Kikuzi IRL, Immobility, Mr. Merritt, Cresto Gautier, Lucifel, Peter Van Sant, Oscar Van Bruce, Mischief Sage, CD Agrin, Sorcerer, Elise Bright, Etep Pete, Astrosarian, Eva Delta, Scrapex, It's Bella Nox, Curlicious, Galsber, Howie Tori, Boss Corgi, Zinni TF, Dark Wabbits, Brandy Boffin, Tony Lim, Dialectical, Sleepy Bat, Povey, Trevor Overtone, Ogre Cat Pizza Burger, Dalagante, Jeffrey Ism is the GOAT, PH Band C, Gires, Iriantes, Their Real, Meisho Doto, Awex, Gubs, Tokateo Monarch, Velio, and NC. Thank you all for watching. I know that the last two has been a lot of just like theoretical crafting, has been kind of more, unscripted and stuff. This one had many problems with corrections that I had to make in there, so thank you for bearing with me on that. Take care, everyone. Good luck building your aces. Burb out.